Okay, now we're going to do some word problems with percents. So the Smith family is buying a house for $88,000. And they're having to provide a 5% down payment. So we're wanting to take 5%, we're wanting to take 5% of the total. Well, you can't work with 5%, so you have to change it to a decimal. So remember, to change this to a decimal, we're going to drop the percent sign and move it 2 places to the left. So I'm going to multiply that times 0.05. And then I'll be able to work it from there. So when I multiply this out, I'm going to get 0, 0, 0. 8 times 5 is 40. And 8 times 5 is 40 with the 4, so that would be 44. Now I'm going to move my decimal 1, 2 places. So I move it 1, 2 places in the product as well. And so the down payment is $4,400. And that's how that would look. Goodness, my marker's not wanting to cooperate today. There we go. So that's the amount. Okay, let's try a different one. Tara worked 28 problems correctly on her test of 35 problems. What percentage was her score? Okay, so first let's write this as a ratio. She worked 28 out of a total of 35. Okay, so I see that those have a common factor of 7. This is 7 times 4, and this is 7 times 5. Okay, so the 7's cancel out, and so that means she worked 4 out of every 5 correctly. Now, if we're trying to make that as a grade, what we would want to do is change it to a decimal. So you could say 5 goes into 4. Okay, 5 goes into 4 8 times. And then I could just put zeros out behind it because it divides evenly. So we're going to get, basically, we'll get 0.8. Okay, so 0.8 is a decimal, obviously. And so if I want to change a decimal to a percent, I take my decimal and I move it 2 places to the right. And I add my percent sign. So 0.8 is the same thing as 80%. So when Tara worked 28 problems correctly out of 35, she scored an 80% on the assignment. Okay, the next thing you have is percent increase. Now, the first thing you have to know about increase or a ratio of increase is it's going to be the amount that it changed over the original amount. Okay, and so that's how you're going to find a percent increase or a ratio of increase. So if you look at this one, it says tuition increased from $3,000 to $5,000. Okay, so if we take 5,000 minus 3,000, the change is 2,000. That's how much it changed. And so that's the amount that it changed, which is 2,000. Now you're putting that over the original. So the original was 3,000. Okay, so if we reduce these, the 2's can't, all of these zeros cancel, and it leaves you with 2/3. So the ratio of increase is 2 to 3. Now, to find the percent increase, we have to go through all of that again. So we're going to say 2/3. We'll change it to a decimal. So 3 goes into 20 6 times. Then I see it's repeating. So it's repeating. So this is going to be a 0.6 repeater. Well, that doesn't really help me much in changing it to a percent. So remember that a 0.6 repeater actually means 0.6666666, however many you need to go. Remember, that's repeating. We don't need it to be quite that many though, so I got a little carried away. I just think I need it to be this many, and here's why. If I move my decimal 2 places to the right, this is going to be 66.6 repeating. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. And that's what it's going to, that's your percent increase, 66.6%. Okay, now they ask you what percent of the figure is shaded. Now, I see in this figure 1, 2, 3, 4 shaded regions. Now that doesn't really help me because I don't have a 1/4 completely shaded. So we could also think of it this way. This piece right here is half of a 1/4. Well, half of a 1/4 is 1/8. So you could do it that way and say it's 1/8 because it's half of a 1/4. But you could also do it this way. You'll see that this is half, and so you could break all those 1/4s into halves. So now if you look at those regions separated with a blue, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those regions, and one of them is shaded. And so that would be 1/8, working it that way as well. Whichever way you feel more comfortable, that's fine. Whichever way you understand it better. Seeing how many more we have of these. Goodness gracious, there are a ton of percents. All right, looking at our next one. In math, of means multiply, and is means equals. So if I look at this one up here and we're changing it to math, we're going to say 27% of means multiply. What number? I don't know the number, so I'll put equals, is 16. Now we can't work, using math, we can't work with a percent. So remember, to fix this percent, we're going to move it 2 places, and it's going to be 0.27 x equals 16. Okay, so then we can just simplify that expression. To get the x by itself, I'm going to divide 0.27 into both sides. These cancel out, and x is going to equal 16 divided by 0.27. Okay, so I'll move my decimal 2 places over, which means I have to move it here 2 places over, and then we can divide. So we're dividing 27 into 1600, and that's where my decimal would be. So 27 is close to 30. So if I was seeing how many times 30 would go into 160, it's probably going to be about 5 times. So 5 times 7 is 35. This would be 10, and 3 more would be 1, 3. So this is going to be 5, and I'm going to borrow, and I'll divide this one out. 27 goes into this, I would say about 8 times. I don't know, we'll try it. 8 times 7 is 56. This would be 16, 21. That's going to be a 4. 4. That's too small. Okay, so we picked the wrong number to divide there. We'll have to keep going. Okay, so now we'll try 9. 8 was too small, so we'll try 9. 9 times 7 is 63, and 9 times 2 is 18. 18 and 6 would give me 24. I didn't remember giving you a decimal, so we're going to look at this one again. I did. I gave you one that didn't divide evenly. So let's just take it out a couple of places, and then we'll get as close as we can. So 27 goes into 50 2 times. And then it's going to repeat. So we'll say that that's what we get right there, and we'll stop there. So we're going to get 59.25. That's going to round this one up, so we're going to say it's 59.3. Now before we go any further with this one, I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to make sure all of the rest of the numbers come out nice and neat.